With all the Ferraris and
So
all the Lamborghinis.
So did you actually?
Yeah.
We'll talk later.
He did give me the caveat, it may be expired. So.
Maybe we should have asked for them in addition to
Yeah. Well, I was going to be down here last week, but when I got up, Fred took the seat.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with the pledge and a prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today praying to seek peace and prosperity for the city that we love. We pray in hopes that you give the governing body and city staff the wisdom to make decisions that will best serve the people of our community. Please, God, use us as tools to best serve you. In Jesus Christ's name, we pray. Amen. Amen. Okay. Approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Larry.
Second.
Second by Brent. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, item D, citizen comments. Anybody from the audience that wants to address the public? I know maybe you guys will address on your item. Nothing? How's the library going? Anything? Anything new? Is it going good?
We're going good.
Going good, okay. How was Santa? I seen Santa in the Walmart parking lot eating down a French fry and a burger. I had to say hi. So, okay, we'll move on. Item F, consent agenda. Everybody take a look at accounts payable.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Sarah,
Second.
second by Michael. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, motion passes. Okay, move on to item H, 1, Star Bond, public hearing.
Honorable Mayor and Council. This is a project plan amendment which will have a public hearing and an ordinance at the hearing's conclusion. If it's the governing body's will to proceed with the amendment, the ordinance is adopted at that time. And then there is a resolution to incorporate the development agreement. And once that's approved, then we move on. These will be presented concurrently but addressed separately. We started this process back in January of 2013 when the district was approved. And actually we passed this ordinance 736 in December of 2012 with Commerce granting us the approval on January of 2013. The original project plan that's being amended this evening was approved with Resolution 1308, and that occurred in September of 2013. And our first development agreement in April of 2014, which was Ordinance 755. We've had a series of amendments that kind of show the evolution of this project throughout its growth, if you will. The first amendment was with Goddard Destination Development, and SNL was the primary provider. That ultimately led to Amendment 2, where the city was contributing funds for infrastructure improvements and ball field enhancements. And then the hotel rooms were reduced in original size with the third amendment that occurred back in March of 2016. And then we went through the process of a fourth amendment with SNL at a Garden City. That ultimately was not pursued, and we became partners with Goddard Sports LLC, Mr. Rodney Stevens, who's here this evening, with Genesis Health Clubs, when we adopted in October of 2018 Development Agreement Amendment number 4. And that essentially stipulates what we'll go through here in a little bit with the progress and the improvements, as well as the enhancements that are being presented for you here this evening. The City Council did approve on December 7th, 2020, a call for public hearing for the Plan Amendment and Development Agreement number 5. Again, this is simply amending the project plan for an additional 5 ball fields and a unprecedented sand sports facility here in the metro area. The ordinance, again, is simply for the project plan amendment, with the resolution being for the development agreement amendment. Phase 1 that's been constructed includes is under construction, includes a Genesis Health Club that has group fitness studios, cardios, weight areas, locker room, child care services, and the kids facility with licensed daycare professionals. There's summer sport camps and after-school programs, as well as a play area in this facility. The original agreement did anticipate a phase 2 that would be taken at the developer's discretion. Phase 1 includes the indoor aquatic center. It consists of 10 lanes of 25-meter competition aquatic pools. There's a springboard and platform capacity. There's 600 seating, that's poolside. We also have dressing rooms and locker rooms under construction, as well as an additional amenity that wasn't originally included, that is an indoor water park, which I'm sure you'll be interested to hear about, as it's really a novelty and will bring a feature that is unique not only to the metro area, but our larger region as a whole. Construction is scheduled to be completed in late second quarter or early third quarter of 2021 on these spaces. The project plan amendment, which the ordinance that will be presented will undertake, would be 5 additional competition baseball fields that are synthetic turf. They'll have stadium lighting, team dugouts of bullpens, spectator seatings, concessions, and restroom facilities, as well as the aforementioned sand sports complex that has 3 sand soccer fields around a covered spectator pavilion and mixed seating style, locker rooms, changing rooms, concessions, as well as public restroom facilities. And then there's a public and private infrastructure improvements that would be undertaken to round out these additional costs. The total projected cost for all of these is approximately $12.5 million. $10 million would be star bond issuance, and the private equity component would be $2,587,792. The development agreement, which is the agreement between the city and the developer to actually undertake the project plan. The project plan is required as a component for not only the star bond supplemental issuance, but with the statutes for not only the issuance, but the agreement with Commerce. Then there's the development agreement between the city and the developer to undertake these improvements that also identifies timelines and kind of narrows that broader scope of the project plan. And what the development agreement does is it requires phase 2 construction, has Goddard Sports as the master developer for an additional 5 years, so to approximately 2026. Construction of phase 2 would commence on or before 6 months after the issuance of the star bonds, and be substantially completed on or before 18 months after the issuance of the star bonds. The funds would be utilized in increments of $5 million, with the developer's 15% contribution being utilized between the first $5 million and the final $5 million. So, in other words, if the project scope's reduced, then this 15% contribution would be reduced, and then this final $5 million amount would be reduced and ultimately redeemed for principal retirement once the bonds would be paid off. However, we do not anticipate that. We fully expect the entire project amount would be utilized given the scope and quality of the venues under construction here should it be approved. The next step would be for the governing body to consider the resolution materially approving to form and authorizing the mayor to execute the resolution that approves development agreement 5. Do not anticipate that. We fully expect. Secretary of Commerce would approve the project plan amendment and the project development agreement. At that point then, we commence with the supplemental issuance for the STAR bonds. In other words, start the bond process underway. I go into greater detail in the staff report that undertakes we got roughly 16 steps that would need to be undertaken to make all this happen, but it's ambitious, but we know that we can get it done. The bond ordinance and related documents have been drafted by the bond counsel and the law firm Kevin Cowan, Gilmore & Bell, and the city attorney has reviewed and approved form. At this point, I will turn it over to Goddard Sports and their representative to have some discussions or answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Brian. Mark Abbott with Pulcinelli, counsel for the developer Goddard Sports. Ron Stevens here also if there are any additional questions. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come and speak with you tonight. Rodney gave kind of the specifics of what Phase 2 was going to be comprised of the last time he was before you. And Brian accurately in the staff report and in his report described what Phase 2 would be. The initial idea of having the additional fields in the sand sports came from, one, the rousing success of, unfortunately, only 1 full month before COVID finally hit. But the fact that over 50% of the teams were not just coming from outside of 100 miles from the city, but from out of state, was exactly what STAR bonds were designed to do. They were designed to bring in out-of-state dollars to the state of Kansas, to bring in visitors. One thing that we have found on other projects is that when kids want to go somewhere, mom and dad follow. If you have kids traveling for sports and they are in the Phase 2 fields, the ball fields are going to be smaller than the Phase 1 fields, so more suitable for some of the smaller kids. This project is, I can't just start to describe how excited I am for this project and the amount of draw that's going to come to the city of Goddard. The state Secretary of Commerce has approved the language of the development agreement. There would be 1 or 2 other steps from the state that Brian has outlined that we would still need to do, but the state has given the soft green light to go ahead if the city would like to approve the project plan, the development plan amendment. If there are any specific questions on any components of the Phase 2 project or how the project would be constructed or how the funding would occur, I'm happy to answer any of those questions.
Are we still on schedule for about February with the bonds, mid-February, somewhere around there, closing on everything?
Anticipate closing, correct.
Okay. How long is the public hearing? 30 days? I know you went over it, but how long is the public hearing?
We have the public hearing here this evening.
Okay, but there's not a date. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Any other questions?
I was just going to ask him, I like the idea of the Phase 2 going on, but along with Phase 2, with people playing ball, they're going to need some place to stay. How's our hotel thing coming along? I mean, we'd like to see some money and revenues off of the hotel and motel tax and stuff like that, as a city council.
Absolutely. So all of the steel has been delivered, correct? And the first floor is anticipated going up, first 2 floors in January, of the steel. So
Just the first one.
just the first floor.
Yeah, first week of January.
So vertical is slated to commence immediately. So the hotel, the materials are there, and construction is underway. The natatorium is fully enclosed. The interior work is occurring there. Progress is being made, and yeah, I mean, we recognize just as much as the city does the need to have a place to stay right next to the facility. So speed is at the utmost concern for our team.
First floor delivered last week. It's sitting out there behind the water park. Footings are going in last week. We're waiting for the plumbing to get done, then we can pour the pad, then they can erect the first floor. It's just an update on the hotel.
I drove by the other day. I seen some work going in on actually inside the aquatic facility. What all is going on in there right now?
So we dug the hot tub and pool.
Okay.
The hot tub bar, the swim up bar is dug. They poured the footings, are all around it. The walls got poured last week. We're digging the activity pool right now, which is where the slides will go into, and then it feeds into a lazy river. All that's getting dug right now. The footings, the pad got poured for both locker rooms. All the plumbing is installed. Right now inside, we're heating it up now too, so it won't be another day of non-heat in there because it's fully enclosed. All the electrical's going in the ceiling. The fire sprinklers are going in the ceiling. And we already started painting the ceiling where that work's already been complete. And all the block wall got put up for the surfing machine last week. It delivers first week of January, so they'll be installing the surfing machine here probably within 2 weeks. We had to get the block wall in for that. All the main drains got put in last week for the pools, so if we want to dump them quick, instead of pumping the water out, we'll just be able to dump the water out. The manholes all got put in for that inside. A lot. There's probably 25 workers inside the building today. So there's a lot of trades. Almost every trade is inside there right now trying to get ahead of once all the pool people show up, there won't be room for anybody else, so we're trying to get everybody out of their way.
Any more questions? None? Okay, so the action is that I declare the public hearing, pretty much?
Yes, sir, you declare the public hearing open.
Okay, so I declare the public hearing open. That needs to be, I guess we got to receive comment, but no. Anybody want to comment on anything? Nothing? Okay. So I look for a motion by one of the council members.
I'm going to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion by Larry.
Second.
Second by Brent. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
So now is the consideration of the project plan amendment number 1. If there are any questions for myself, city attorney, bond counsel, or Goddard Sports, Mr. Stevens or Mr. Abbott, we're happy to answer your questions. Otherwise, it is the adoption of the project plan amendment with the consideration of the ordinance, which would be to waive the reading of the ordinance, which can be done by a voice vote, followed by the formal consideration of the ordinance by a roll call. Because the nature of the obligation, the mayor would vote in this instance. However, in the resolution that would be pending, the mayor would not vote on the development agreement resolution.
Okay, so I'll look for a motion to waive the reading.
I motion to waive the reading of the ordinance.
Motion by Michael.
Second.
Second by Larry. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Consider the ordinance.
I'll make a motion to consider the ordinance.
Motion by Sarah.
Second.
Second by Michael. Roll call.
You say the mayor is voting on this?
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmerman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leland?
Yes.
Mayor Larkin?
Yes.
Councilmember Trailer?
Yes.
And Councilmember Proctor?
Yes.
That'd be ordinance 863.
The next item would be consideration of the development agreement, amendment number 5, and to consider the resolution, which can be undertaken by a simple voice vote.
Motion to consider the resolution.
Motion by Michael,
Second.
second by Sarah. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, motion passes.
Me, resolution 2016.
The next would be item H2, resolution amending and supplementing resolution 18-13 to increase the authorized industrial revenue bond from $55,500,000 to $65 million for the private investments within the Goddard Star Bond District. This simply encapsulates the slide that you saw previously for the project plan amendment and the development agreement amendment number 5. It does go ahead and highlight, though, the issuance of, the adoption of Resolution 1813 that authorized the issuance of $55,500,000 in project industrial revenue bonds that occurred on October 22nd, 2018. This is a pretty straightforward one-page resolution in content only, and that's to increase the revenue bond principal amount to $65 million. The remainder of Resolution 1813 remains unchanged. I believe that is Exhibit 2 in your staff report for the draft amendment. For the development agreement amendment. There's no direct cost associated from the adoption of the resolution, as the city's primarily a pass-through conduit for the issuance of the bonds. The resolution was authored by bond attorney Kevin Cowan and reviewed by city attorney Ryan Peck. It's recommended that the city council adopt the proposed resolution amending these and supplementing resolution 1813 to increase the authorized industrial revenue bond from $55,500,000 to $65 million for the private improvements within the Goddard Star Bond District. And this can be undertaken by a voice vote.
I was going to say, Ryan, are you feeling good about this? Or?
Yeah, I think it's a good deal.
Okay. Look for a motion then.
A motion to adopt the proposed resolution. Do I need to read the whole thing?
Or as noted. Yeah.
As noted.
Motion by Michael,
Second.
second by Brent. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Me,
So, yeah.
resolution 2017. Sorry.
You wrote it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rodney.
Honorable Mayor and Council, this is, so an investment company reached out on behalf of a landowner recently about donating a piece of land. It's lot 1 and 2, Block A of the Goddard Crossing. The section of land will join the Rustic Creek development. The owner is essentially donating the property to relinquish any tax burden associated with it, and the mortgage of the property has already been paid off. So this is it. This is Orchlands right here, and the property is directly behind it. It's kind of hard to see, but it's about 4 acres, just over 4 acres. The assessed land value is $363. So there's just another picture of it. Basically, section of property right here, and then again that's Orchlands right there, so directly behind it. And this is the Rustic Creek area right here.
Where, can you go back to the picture?
Yeah.
Where's the road for Rustic Creek coming off of 199?
Oh, did you see that name on there? Timothy.
Where will that be coming in?
Told you. I told you.
Is it north
Didn't
of
I?
the fire station?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Right there.
Basically
Buddy.
parallel with East Martin, or
Huh?
like
Buddy.
right with East Martin.
Shit,
Okay.
I fully smoked a hookah with him. I got one in my house.
Oh, yeah?
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Who are you talking about?
So the city will enter into a quick claim deed with Downtown Investments as the grantor and Goddard acting as the grantee. This gentleman right here,
His best friend is,
Mr. Tim
Chris
Saw,
Ruffin.
is the current owner of the land and has agreed to sign the property over to the city.
Here's Chris.
Once this property is donated, the city can essentially do whatever they want with it, sell it, lease it, or keep and maintain the land. And upon approval of the deed by the governing body, the city will manage the property, mowing and other maintenance.
I'm sure you know who that is, right?
No financials with this, and it was approved by our city attorney. So the recommendation is just to go ahead and approve the donation of the property via authorization of the deed.
I guess other than extending the road from Main up to it, I guess that would possibly make a good potential new activity or a community center up and right behind in there, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, at the discretion of the body.
The price is right on the land.
Hard to beat. Hard to beat.
I motion to approve, as noted.
Motion by Michael,
Second.
second by Brent. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion passes.
If we're not gonna do anything with that land, can we go ahead and have that farmer farm that land so we don't have to mow it, or?
I don't know if it's good farm ground or not. It may be, I don't know. They've been farming it before, yeah, let somebody farm it so we don't have to mow it, that'd be great.
We'll lease it for hunting land.
It really would save a lot of, save a lot of work, but.
City Hall.
Our Mayor and Council. This item is for the sanitary sewer maintenance and cleaning in Old Town. Little background on this, the city sanitary sewer system collects and conveys water from the various residential, commercial, and industrial facilities to the wastewater treatment plant that sits out just north of town. Over time, the sewer flows start to degrade and the lines must be cleaned using specialty equipment. Use rotters, pressure cleaners, and other things to remove blockages caused by tree root intrusion and accumulation of heavy greases. Those are two of the major causes of sewer backups into private homes in Goddard. When we get those issues, they need to be addressed, or they can lead, as I said before, to pretty bad backups and overflows into businesses and homes. The lines are cleaned using a high-powered pressure jet of water that blows grease, debris, roots, and all the other items in there through the line to the next manhole where it is collected and taken out of the system. During the process of cleaning, the contractor also cameras of portions of lines to determine what kind of condition those are in. And also during this process, the contractor will identify any manholes that have cracks or seepage problems or other issues and need rehabilitation. In the past, we've run a 5-year rotational cleaning of the entire system, with 1/5 of the system cleaned every year. I believe the cleaning was suspended in 2015 to replenish the sewer reserve fund. Is that correct, Matt? I think that was it.
Yes.
Well, we'd like to jump back on that, restart that program in 2021. The program would begin with cleaning and inspection of the sanitary system in the northern section of Old Town. Being cleaned would be approximately 30,805 linear feet of sewer line, and approximately 4,600 feet will be televised, cameras. Initially, we had planned to do this later in the first quarter of this year, but the contractor we used for this, Mayor Specialties, which is a local company, by the way, have been very busy. Between their workload and their employee absences due to COVID-19, they pretty much gave me an option, take it or leave it date, and that was on last Thursday, so here I am. They are wanting to do the cleaning between January 4th, and they will finish on January 12th of 2021. It's pretty important that we do this. As I said before, it prevents the backups and overflows and helps maintain good operations at the wastewater treatment facility.
The 5-year rotation worked well in the past, and I think it will still work well until we get enough sewer lines that we maybe have to go to a 6-year rotation. I'll have to talk to the contractor, see what they choose to do in that case. Cleaning up the northern section of Old Town cost $19,715, and there's an error there. I believe that's supposed to be 20 cents, and that will start our 5-year cleaning rotation. Here is a map of the areas to be cleaned. This is Kellogg right here, and Linear Park down here. And so all the northern sections north of Linear Park and south of Kellogg will be cleaned, with one little exception. They'll hit this little stub up here on Main Street. Financials for this: the $19,715.20 expenditure would come from the sewer replacement reserve and the repair and maintenance for utility infrastructure. Has a current balance of $218,715. Item has been approved as form. Are there any questions?
If they have a line that's showing some problems in it, do they offer a sleeve or something to put in there to repair that, or?
They have various methods. If we have, if we come up with cracked lines or other problems, they have various methods to repair that. I can't speak for them until we know what the issue may be. And there is always a chance we could come up with an issue when they do televise those lines and clean them. We may find a sag or a crack or something that we're not aware of. But they can, if it's a crack,
most of those are clay pipe over there, aren't they?
They are. They're clay pipe. Most of it is. On a clay pipe, they can go in a manhole and they can literally slide a sleeve inside that pipe if it's cracked. We had an emergency repair about 6 months ago in the southern part of Old Town where we had to slide 3 of those sleeves in. They were doing a service line replacement, and they did find a crack, and they repaired that. And Mayor Specialty does an excellent job. I can't speak for all their technology on how they will fix everything, but I know they can fix a lot of stuff in the ground, which is significantly cheaper for us.
Is that a Goddard company?
Yes, it is.
Is that Whitney Mayor?
I talked to, oh, you'd have to ask me the name now. I have not talked to that person, though.
Okay.
Casey is who I talked to, and then there's another individual, and they're both mayors, but they're both pretty young guys. So I don't know that individual, sorry.
Okay.
This entire 5-year program was included in the capital budget we presented earlier this year as well. So we anticipated this.
Any other questions? None. Okay, I'll look for a motion.
I'll motion to approve.
Motion by Sarah.
Second.
Second by Michael. Roll call.
Oh, this does not need to be a roll call, I don't believe.
No.
Just a voice vote. That was an error for me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Sorry.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Honorable Mayor and Council, this was supposed to be technically in the consent agenda, but there was a little bit of a miscommunication on our part on that, so it wound up in the staff report. So next year it'll be back in the consent agenda for approval. But basically, this is just for cereal malt beverages. So any person desiring a license shall make an application to the governing body of the city, and accompanying the application by the required license fee for each place of business for which the person desires the license. So basically, it's a license to sell beer. So the following businesses renewed license: Walmart, Pizza, Goddard Sports, Murphy Oil, Quick Shop. Were there any more, Terry?
No. So are they all supposed to renew right now, or can they renew throughout the year?
They all expire on December 31st of each year. So,
okay, so
they run from January 1st to December 31st.
Okay.
So M&R Liquor wouldn't fall under that?
Liquor stores are different.
Okay.
I think they renew with their state license, and so I believe theirs is in March.
Yeah, I think this is just for technically beer in Kansas. So.
Okay.
And Tanganyika used to get a cereal malt beverage, but they went to liquor as well. So.
any liquor, wine, coolers under 6%, I believe. So there's just a small fee for that. I think it's $225, $200 to the city and $25 to the state. And part of that is $75, $50 to the state, $50 to the city and $25 to the state.
So the ones that serve on premises are the $225. The ones that sell in unopened containers, like at the Quick Shop and so forth, are $75.
Okay.
It was approved by City Attorney Ryan Peck, and my recommendation is for the City Council to approve the applications for license to retail cereal and malt beverages in the City of Goddard. If there are no questions.
Questions? None. Look for a motion.
Motion to approve to form.
Motion by Michael,
Second.
second by Brent. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Honorable Mayor and Council, this is more of an informational, it's just to bring the council up to date on our snow route and removal process. The goal of our winter storm response operations is to reduce the impact of snow and ice on city roadways. Every year, Public Works personnel and city administrative staff review and prepare for the approaching storm season. The week of Columbus Day, essentially then we do a dry run. We act as if snow is coming, get the trucks ready, plows on, tanks in the back, everything good to go. The snow plan and routes are shown on the city's webpage under the Public Works Department, and it gives information on the weather and road conditions, as well as the City of Goddard's roadmap and our weather preparation and response overview. The snow maps illustrates the city's priority roadways and color codes roads according to claim priority. Major arteries, I'll spit that out. Major arteries are the first section cleared, followed by primary routes. Once all the major arteries and primary routes are passable, then we turn to our focus to the secondary routes. When winter event is anticipated, you'll see us out there. We're out utilizing salt brine, putting on the roads before it freezes to lower the impact of any snow or ice that gets on the road and hopefully keep the surface clean. After the storm event, we apply salt and sand as needed at intersections and other slick sections of the road, and of course plow any snow off the road. This is a copy of the map that is on the website. So it says City of Goddard down there on the website. For some reason that didn't translate over. But you'll notice all of our arteries are in green, and then our primaries are a pink, and then our rest of our roads, our secondaries and whatnot, are in green. So depending on how big the storm is, how much time we have, we tackle those in that order. There's no direct cost for this item. It's approved as form. This is simply recommended that the City Council receive and file on the winter report on winter weather preparation. Any questions?
Do we have a plan to where if we have a big snow and you have to plow them open, as far as somebody coming and helping open up driveways where they piled up 2 foot of snowbank in the driveway?
We would utilize our own staff. We have 2 backhoes that we can use, and we have a dump truck, and we've got enough personnel that we put most of our certain amount of personnel in the trucks for plowing and spreading salt sand, and then we use the additional personnel for moving that snow out of the way. Hopefully we don't get that much snow.
Because I know in Old Town we've got quite a number of seniors that can't get out there and shovel like that.
Yeah, and we generally don't clean in front of driveways unless we create a big berm of snow in front of them, and then we don't really want people to have to drive through that. But if it comes to that, we are prepared to move that snow.
And that as our Public Works Director Brooke had mentioned, that comes at the conclusion of the storm response, because generally when you get an event of that size, everyone's been working for 20 plus hours. And I know we have had events in the past where literally everybody in the organization that has a CDL was doing some
some midnight snow runs, 2 and 3 in the morning.
And the crew's pretty dedicated. If there's a winter storm coming and they know there's snow response, I don't have to twist anybody's arm. People are ready to go to work. So they're ready to put the brine down. And one of our employees that's been there about a year is been about 10 years on KDOT. He's got some interesting insight on snow removal, and that's been a plus. We've tried a couple little different things on some of our lighter stuff this year that has worked, so we'll just keep moving forward.
And one thing that we do too is we really are mindful of the amount of time that the employees have been awake and on the job, because it's real easy to get kind of hypnotized with the snow and the lights, and so we try and make sure that folks aren't actually out and about. And that's where folks like Brooke and I who have CDLs come in the overnight hours, because we've got office jobs, so it's a lot easier for us. And the guys that are actually doing the work that have been up already for a full day and then have kind of carry it into the night or go home for a few hours sleep and then come back in the morning to relieve us. That's what we tend to do for the big events, so that the guys are getting rest and we're not worried about them being up for 24 hours. And because we have had 18 inches worth of snow and drifts in the north part of town, as you are aware, on the frontage roads, we used to have to put up fences to reduce the drifts, because we just could not keep up with the extent of the drifts. That often on North Maple even could be as high as our big dump trucks along the ditch.
We used to put up a snow fence down just off of 23rd, I think, on that property by the park down there, but I don't see anything that's been put up the past couple of years.
Yeah, and we haven't really had to at this point because of how developments occurred now.
Yeah.
A lot of the housing has stopped that, and once Rustic Creek's developed, we don't anticipate there needing to be fences go up along that frontage. But if we know that we are going to be a bullseye for a high snow event, then we would have to look at placing that type of snow fence up along those drift areas on the frontage road, or shut the frontage road down until we can get to it, depending upon the extent that we have resources available to do that.
And we do have the materials to do that at any time. To expand on what was just said, generally, and we haven't had a big storm event yet, but generally I like to, if the guys worked all day, I would like to keep them on 4-hour maximum shifts in snow. And it's worked so far, but as Brian said, if we get a big event, it can change.
Okay, any questions?
Any more questions?
Nope.
Okay.
Thanks for the info.
Thank you.
So this was actually should be a police department request, but when I found out that they were going to be purchasing a new copy machine, I decided to exert some city treasurer's privilege and insert myself into it. When we got the new copy, the 6-year-old copy that we have now, when we got it initially, PD took the old one for themselves. And they've been using it since then, and over, I don't know how long, it's been in its various state of breaking down. It finally gave all it had, and they're unable to get it fixed, they're unable to get replacement parts for it, so we know we need to replace that one. The life cycle of these things, with the amount that we use them, is 3 to 4 years, so not only was that one well past its life cycle, our current one is as well. Mark Heron, one of our sergeants, got 3 bids for replacement of not only their copy machine, but another one for the rest of the city to use. We got back two bids that we accepted. One from ImageQuest, who is our current provider, who we got the last one from. They want to give us 2 Xerox C8135s, which are basically the updated version of what we currently have. The price for both of those is $12,616.14. It includes price, delivery, setup, and it also includes a $1,000 credit, basically, for giving back the one we currently have. As far as the costs go, you know, they determine our maintenance cost based on usage. So currently we're doing, well, but basically what they're offering is for black and white, it's 0.005 of a cent per page, and for color copies, it's 39,000% per page, which for the black and whites, that's 1/10,000th of a cent more than what we're paying now on our current service contract, and 0.06 of a cent lower for color copies. We don't do a lot of color copies, obviously, but most of it's black and white. The second bid is from RK Black for a Canon, 2 Canon units. For both of those, would be $14,900, there were no specifics about setup and delivery and all that, so I don't know if those are going to be included in their submission. And essentially, when you break down the maintenance costs for them, it's more for both color and black and white copies than what the bid from ImageQuest was. The third bid came from Prestige Office Solutions. They were going to try to sell us used copy machines that were actually repossessions, and we rejected those bids because they didn't include service or any kind of warranty information. So, and also we're doing this to get good equipment that will last us for at least 4 to 5 years. We don't want used stuff coming in. We would like you to accept the bid from ImageQuest for $12,616.14 we'll pay for it from the Equipment Reserve Fund. Current fund cash balance is $551,989.16, and that does not include the fourth quarter transfers that we'll be putting in before the end of the month. So, just a side note here. The current printer, just one, not two, but one, when we bought it in 2014, was $11,000. So these are very aggressive pricing from them. We're essentially getting 2 for the price of 1, what we paid last time. And so that's why we're comfortable moving forward with replacing both the admin and and buying PD brand new printer copier as well. We recommend you accept the bid from ImageQuest for the 2 CA135 copy machines. Just a simple voice vote is all we need.
Questions?
What service life do you anticipate these copy machines will have?
Well, so the current one we have now is still working very well from what I understand. We've had more instances of jams and stuff like that more recently, but they come out and maintain it. Usually we're going again, but so like I said, we've had it for almost 6 years, so
okay.
I would anticipate we would get at least 6 years out of both of these, if not longer.
So,
and like I said, and they do very good service. I'm not exactly sure what the turnaround time is, but it's usually a day or 2. And so they do regular maintenance. They come out when we need them, and then none of that's if we went with the other bid, for instance, it's $150 an hour if you don't have the service contract on them.
Right.
For them to be out here.
So they'll fix it at those rates under the service contract.
If we go with the service contract, that's repairs are all included.
Yeah. Sounds like an.
And they do all the toner. They supply. So mind forgetting anything, Terry, on those. I don't deal with the repair and maintenance normally, but I hear the grumbling when they go down. We've heard a lot less with this printer than we have in the past.
And they're giving us $1,000 credit for the one, trading that one in?
That's included in that $12,000 price, is the $1,000 credit.
Yes, we need to ask Terry if she's happy with the way that was working.
Yeah, pretty happy.
Any other questions? Rod?
Make a motion to accept the bid from ImageQuest for purchasing 2 Xerox C8135 copy machines for $12,616.14.
Second.
Motion by Larry, second by Michael. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Honorable Mayor and Council. This is simply to kind of prime the pump, to get you thinking about some items that you would like to see so that we can develop a work plan at the January 4th meeting for the year ahead. Each year, staff presents a plan to the governing body as a guide to try and refine our strategic tasks and coordinate future meetings. The drivers for the priority and discussion include our mission, vision, values, and objectives, as well as the city's business plan, a review of our strategic process, and the community vision plan, which is what our city's business plan is actually based off of. And then, of course, the big project items that's been referenced a couple of times here this evening, the capital improvement program. It's a living document. It can be adjusted, changed, amended, evolved. Just because something's on the list doesn't mean that it'll actually need to happen or will happen. But it's, Eisenhower's rubric of it's better to plan and not execute the plan than to not actually proceed without a plan. Accountability is maintained through your quarterly reports and is presented progress the first or second meeting of each quarter in April, July, October, and then we'll have year-end presented the second meeting in January. The vision statement for our community, which was identified by the community, not by city staff, not by the governing body at the time it was adopted in 2014, and that's Goddard, a vibrant community, growing and accessible, the destination for a family-oriented active lifestyle. Now, the mission statement for the organization that was crafted in consultation and cooperation between the governing body and city staff was the mission of the City of Goddard's to work cooperatively and efficiently to provide a vibrant community that's growing and accessible for our neighbors. We aim to be a destination for a family-oriented active lifestyle. And so what that means is our neighbors have told us what they envision Goddard to be. And this is how we as an organization work to serve that vision, to try and fulfill it. The organization that was identified by our employees were 6 values. First being people first. Second being stewardship, that we're custodians of the positions that we've been charged with. That we are to be solution-oriented, not identifying problems, but coming forward with solutions for you, the governing body, to choose from, or to prime the pump for you to craft your own as we move forward as a community. To be collaborative, working together, and of course, we want to be effective and efficient. So we want to make sure that we are accomplishing what needs to be accomplished, and then finally doing it in the most efficient manner that we can given the resources at hand. Now, the business plan was crafted and we refine it periodically. It was last refined in 2017, and so it takes the mission and the vision, and you'll notice that the vision statement is a little longer than what we had shown previously, and that's because it's taken directly out of the community vision plan that was drafted by the community. And so from that, what we've done is we identified the categories of the vision statement components, and those are broken down as amenities and entertainment, high quality parks and recreation, beautification of business space, community connectedness, and housing. And then just some statements as far as what we're trying to do, from encouraging development along the US 54 Kellogg corridor to identifying restaurant and retail recruitment to Goddard, to a strong focus on improving our recreation system, beautifying our public space from cleaning up Kellogg to creating walkable, community connected sense of place. And then of course continual, multi-generational, cost-affordable housing. Now, how we go about doing this is something that we talk about every budget process, and I show you every quarter. And that's where we take the community strategic plan, the vision plan, the mission and vision of the organization, the comprehensive plan, which is our land use plan and how we see each physical parcel being utilized, to create a list of council priorities and organizational objectives for city staff. And then from there, that's where the departments take their goals and initiatives and proceed with that. And then we evaluate that continually, and that's reinforced with one-on-ones and employee evaluations. And then, of course, ultimately it's tied together with the budget allocation and actually spending the money to make that happen. And then it's just a continual feedback loop. So we're tweaking, evolving. It's not as literal as rinse and repeat, but it's an evolution. We show you this every chance we can, because what we want to show is Goddard's place within the metro as far as our mill levies. And with the state mill levy cap that's been in place, we are the lowest mill levy of any of the first or second class cities, or what we really like to look at is the first tier suburbs. We are the smallest other than Keachai, which is about 2,000 folks. Yeah. So if you were to remove Keachai, which has a mill levy of 35, our mill levy is 33 1/4, 33.226. And you see that compared to the remainder of the other cities in the metro area, including Andover and Butler County, as a first-tier suburb.
I'll be surprised if Keachai stays that low as well, because they don't really have growth opportunity. So
right. So what we would like is for you to come up with some ideas that when we come back on the 4th, we can kind of just do a brainstorming session and put some stuff together, prioritize it, and then from there, build some quarterly goals that we would like to see achieved, and then from there, make it happen. So are there any questions on our process as we look to move forward?
Questions?
And we've got almost a 300-page agenda this evening, from all the STAR bond documents to many of the community vision plan and everything before you. I'll send out a separate email about a week before the next council meeting that'll have solely the community vision, the business plan, and all of that, so that it's kind of separate and segregated, so it won't be quite so cumbersome the next time we talk about this, and it'll be easier as well for you to peel out for your own records.
I would just like to add from what Brian said. I was in on the ground level of this over 20 years ago when we started out with a comprehensive plan that started all what the community wanted. And we had little seminars and lunches and stuff with citizens throughout the community to see what they actually wanted. And I think we've tried our best to fulfill what they wanted. I mean, they wanted an active community, and we've got a park. They wanted a responsible building, and I think we've been responsible as far as making sure that people that had businesses in our community were good for the community, and that we didn't accept growth that they didn't want in different areas. So I think we've been responsive, and I think we need to follow the comprehensive plan that came down and that the people decided they want, and just keep on plugging away and making this community what the citizens ask for.
Very good.
Item I, City Administrator's Report. This should be, for a while anyway, the last STAR bond draw report, and it's unchanged from the last time as there's from the first issuance, no additional allocation remaining. You can see the extensive progress that's taken place with the superstructure framework. This is another view looking south. What I want to point out is this lower level here on the right, that's the competitive swimming venue, and then this raised portion on the left, which is a little over half to 2/3, that's the private funded component. That's the swim up bar, the water park, and the surf machines. And then you can see the health club portion here with the child care facility off over here. And then where the cranes are currently stationed, the foundation and footings that Mr. Stevens mentioned would be placed here within the next couple of weeks. Arbor Creek just shows the continued home starts that we have in that area. We'll only give the lot updates monthly, so these are unchanged from last week's report. But we've got 245 lots with 28 sold, 27 of them are in phase 1 with a total of 217 lots remaining. Clover Leaf is really booming, and we anticipate bringing some petitions to you for phase 2 within the month. We've tentatively scheduled that for January. Again, we just continue to grow, and very happy with that development and everything that Mr. Kelsey's done there. Elk Ridge continues to flourish. You see start on the second home on the far west side of the development, as well as some images here on the east side of the latest phase that's abutting the existing construction. Rustic Creek, we'll be presenting some amended petitions and some issuances here with the enabling resolutions occurring in February, and you'll see a slide on that. Again, that's tentative going forward. Just showing you the progress of the dirt mound removal there for the lot that's where the old truck stop used to be on Main Street and US 54-400 Kellogg and the frontage road. And I appreciate you really get a good view of that from Thatcher's drone footage there. This is a view of that north land donation that was accepted this evening with that parcel, and then Rustic Creek behind it. And then a view looking south with Main Street and Kellogg and the Orchlands. There's the Sonic with the Quick Shop and the fire station. The RCUT, nothing really new to report, but we still do anticipate bid letting occurring late winter, early spring of 2021. The RCUT should be the last time you see this slide. It's now completed. We've got some delineators going in, and there's been discussions on whether or not we should put some reflective striping down, and that's something that we'll continue to investigate. And we'll look at possibly having traffic control systems come out to mark that. It's not very clear at this point. We'll also, I know Brooks working to see about getting together with the adjacent property owners here as far as what their plans are, so we can look at possibly putting in some lighting with Westar. But we want to make sure that that's going to take some time and some coordination, because we don't want to just put stuff in and then it's like, oh, well, that's where a driveway was going to be, and then the city has to pay 30 grand to move a pole that we put in a year or two before that. So we want to make sure that we understand kind of what the plans are and where the likely access points will be, so that when we ask Westar for this, that when it's time to place those, that they're placed appropriately.
How long are the cones projected to be along 183rd, where it kind of blocks off where the old road was?
Excuse me. They're wrapping up right now. They've got to re-pour a couple places of concrete because when the weather came in, it cracked. And that's on the flume on the very south side. And then they've got on the very east side of the bank, there is a section of that sidewalk that got cracked.
Okay.
And they've got to replace that. Once they do that, they'll clean up all the dirt work and then pull the cones. Weather dependent, 2 weeks.
Okay.
And that's weather dependent, and but that's approximately what, based on my conversation with them.
Okay. I didn't know, those ones that are up more towards Kellogg, yeah, like right there.
Yeah, they're
Where?
right on the edge of the road, and my daughter
Yeah.
laughed at me the other day, she said I almost hit the cones.
Which part of me is like,
I could feel them bumping up
Yeah.
to the bottom of my tires, but I wasn't hitting them.
well, part of me is like, oh, let's take them out, but then part of me is like, how many people don't come like every day and they're gonna come around that corner and be like, oh, there's no road there anymore. So,
It seems unusual that they stopped that sidewalk there instead of taking it over to the corner where people could cross to get to.
Yeah, well, it had always stopped right here because we have the traffic control box, and if you remember, KDOT was adamant that the sidewalk not cross onto their right-of-way. And so, you know, at some point, and as you know, with the R-Cut, we have a pedestrian crossing there, so we'll be talking about the CIP, how we want to run pedestrian, you know, some sidewalk down our existing frontage, which, again, gets into utility placements, future road widths, how do we want to do that so that we're not pouring concrete only to turn around in 5 years and rip it out because we're widening the road. As you know, even though it's only about, you know, a half a mile at most, but you do a half a mile and a half a mile on each side, and, you know, you're looking at 300 grand worth of sidewalk that we look at as an investment. So making sure that we think all of this coordination through for future growth, the timing of it, utility relocations, because, you know, if we put it on this side of the frontage, well, we've got all those nice trees that are right along the wall there, along the seasons, that I know the homeowners on this side like and appreciate, because we hear about it when somebody jumps the curb and takes one out. They want, you know, that right-of-way tree replaced. Or, so, you know, it's just making certain that we're coordinating and trying to think the move through before we do it. Just to let you know, the closing for the 100 block in North Main, these 3 parcels that the city owned, that closing occurred on the 15th. And so, you know, that's now in possession of Strutz, so we'll see what their schedule is moving forward. Some notable agenda items coming forward, and again, these are tentative, but we'll have the community center discussion update on January 4th. Even if we are still waiting for some additional bids to come in, you'll receive a report on that. We'll have the work plan discussion. We'll also have a utility rate update on the 18th. And then just, you know, growth and development that, again, is very tentative at this point. It'll either be January or February-ish moving forward. And then in late February, early March, we'll be talking about the budget. We tend to start on utilities in May. So our water and sewer would be in May. And of course, at that time, we hope to have a new rate increase, or not a rate increase, a rate discussion with a decrease as we've looked at extending and increasing our debt payments for what we owe on the sewer fund. So with that decrease will be an extension or an increase in the life cycle of the debt, but we're looking at overall reduced payments. So that's the give and the take, is we're decreasing the rates but increasing the length of time on the debt. And that concludes my report if there are no questions. Thank you.
All righty, governing body comments. Larry, what do you have?
On that development up there behind Orscheln's, do they plan on extending Main into that?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So there'll be an access from the south on Main and off of 199.
And that'll give us access to that property we just inherited, right?
Yes.
Off of Main. Well, I just want to thank all the city staff for the hard work they did this last year. I appreciate all you guys did. and want to wish each of you a Merry Christmas, and hopefully we can have a good year next year where we don't have to face the things we faced this year as far as the COVID.
All right. Sarah?
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, I want to express my appreciation to the staff. You guys have done a great job this year of keeping everything afloat with the crazy that is 2020 and helping our businesses struggle through COVID and everything, or not struggle as much through COVID, I guess. So, appreciate it.
Michael?
I'd like to second Larry's comments on city staff and all the work you guys have done. Got a very full plate this year, between, like with some of the grant money that you guys have come up with and that you worked on. A lot of crazy in 2020. But I'm really excited, especially for this phase 2 of the development. And yeah, just a lot of more exciting stuff happening for Goddard. We'll see what 2021 brings.
They couldn't say it any better. Really. They did a good job, didn't they?
Is that what you got?
No, not at all. And I'm really glad. I noticed Image Quest, right? Chris Hahn still there?
I think he moved, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
He's not there anymore? Well, golly it. I was all looking, I was like, wow, they used a old councilman's business, to get their copier. That's kind of cool. Appreciate the job that I'm doing for the library. Gotta get my glasses on, hold on. There we go. And anyway, you all have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
The police department. Yeah, they were clocking this morning on Kellogg. Weren't you guys?
I was not.
Somebody was.
Were you a recipient?
I was thinking about speeding. But I slowed down, before when I saw him, when my fuzzbuster went off, I slowed down.
You were thinking about it. Because fuzzbuster reminded you worse speed.
So I slowed down, but then I was like, oh, I forgot my wallet. And I drove back home, got the wallet. Let's do it again.
Taking notes over there, Lane?
Well, I can't really say much more than what at least these three council members said. Thank you all, the city staff, for everything they've done. You guys have helped us through a difficult year, and I can't thank you anymore. I know that 2021's going to look a lot better. I'm optimistic, and I'm happy to see what happens. So I guess we've got an executive session. Item K, for consultation with an attorney on matters that will be deemed privilege and attorney-client relationships. So I look for a motion, maybe 30 minutes. Hopefully not that long.
Would you like to take a recess or convene directly in?
What do we want to do? We want to take a recess? Or we
No.
just want to get to it?
Let's get to it. I make that motion for 30 minutes.
Okay, motion by Sarah.
Second.
Second by Michael. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
by Brent,
Second.
second by Sarah. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.